All right, so I'm ready. First of all, thank you, Angelique, very much for hosting this meeting. I'm very happy to be here. It's going to be my first time in English. It's not that I don't know English. I know, Baruch Hashem, thank God, I can talk English. I can understand English. But it's going to be like the first class I give it like entirely in English, at least on this subject. I have given so many classes, thank God, at least on this subject. So again, thank you very much. My name is Tuvia. I'm a rabbi in Argentina. I've been 20 years already in a small city in Argentina. It's called La Plata. And now I just moved from that city to Buenos Aires. And I'm working at schools, teaching boys, girls about Judaism, Jewish boys, Jewish girls. But like around 10 years ago, I started working a lot with a little bit less than 30 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever. I started working a lot with these ideas of Bnei Noach, of non-Jews that really like and understand and enjoy, appreciate the message that Judaism has for the whole world. This came about like not really looking for it, but just appeared. God puts you in different places and different situations and asks you to do something in his world. So this started because I have a YouTube channel and I started doing videos actually thinking about Jews, but many non-Jews started asking questions and ideas and etc. etc. So I started answering and I saw there's a terrible lack of good information about what Judaism actually has to teach for non-Jews. And there's a lot to teach, a lot, believe me. Many people think that it's just like 7 very vague and very simple ideas like don't kill, don't steal. Okay, it's good to, of course, do this, and this is the main idea, the main message, and this is very important, etc. And God loves this. Okay, but it doesn't stop there. It doesn't finish there. If a person could actually really live his life according to what God wants from us, according to like really deep message, there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to do, there's a lot not to do, there's a lot of information. So I'm very happy again to be here to share a few ideas. And of course, this is not a how do you call it in English, monologue. I'm not just talking. I'm open to questions and open to comments. It's okay. That's the real way actually to learn. Because I can talk a lot, but actually many years ago, this happened like almost 20 years ago, I was giving a class to a group of people. It doesn't matter really all the details of the class. Doesn't matter. It was a weird place, a weird situation. I was just giving a class, like 10 older men. So I gave my whole class, I prepared the class, and I wrote down the notes, what I wanted to teach. I gave a whole class on how God is one. That was the idea of the class. So God is one. Okay. After the class, I said, okay, maybe somebody has a question about the ideas. Nobody made any comments at all. Okay. And one guy asked me, why did the Holocaust happen? This was his question. So then I realized it like struck me in the head. Oi, what did I just do? This person and probably the other ones didn't listen one word of what I said. It was not important. God is 1, 10, 100. Who cares? He sat down like a real gentleman. He swallowed up my whole class. He didn't care a word about my class. He just had a question. This is his question. He wanted to ask this question to an Orthodox rabbi. How do you live like a Jew after what happened? This was his question. So I learned, if you have questions, if you have comments, it's okay. You can interrupt, you can whatever, raise your hand or whatever system you want to use. It's okay. And we can deal with that. It's not a problem. There are like almost off-topic questions, almost. Okay, some things maybe it's just too big, too deep, too difficult. So we say, okay, maybe for our next class, but it's okay. That's what I mean. It's okay. It has to be Understood. Okay, so the topic of our class today is prayer and blessings. First of all, Judaism is built around one specific event that happened around 3,300 years ago, a little bit more, but whatever. Everything I'm going to teach is based on that. So if we don't understand that, we're not going to understand anything. We're not going to accept anything I can say. So what's that event? That event is called, in Hebrew, it's called Matan Torah. It means the giving of the Torah. That means that there was a people, that they were descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And I'm sorry if I don't pronounce the names in English properly, because I have them like in Hebrew and in Spanish. I can also say in Spanish if you want. And in English, I'm not so used to. So Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, these people were not Jews. There were no Jews in the world. There was not such a thing as Jewish things. It's just descendants of this family. They stood in a mountain and God appeared in front of them. This event is recorded in the Torah itself, in Parshas Yisro, whatever, in the second book of the Torah. And this event it's not just revealing, God revealed himself. It means God transmitted every single message he had for whole humanity. For Jews on one side and for non-Jews on a different side, but whatever. Some messages are common, some are not. In any case, anything that Judaism goes around and teaches and says and doesn't say is based on that event. This is the main thing we have to understand, we have to know. Point number one. Point number two, so, okay, after that event, God didn't appear anymore. Don't ask me why, because I don't know, but except for prophets, okay, some prophets, we have some of them recorded, that's fine. But he didn't appear in the same way anymore. Revealed to a whole people in a place, in a big place, whatever, publicly. This didn't happen anymore. Okay. So if that's the case, so how do we connect to him? How do we talk to him? How do we find him? Because he's not appearing to me. At least I'm not a prophet, so he doesn't appear to me. So how do I find him? Where do I find him? What's the system? What's the structure, etc.? This is what prayer means on one hand, and this is also what blessings means on a different way. And this is what I want to teach. This is what I want to explain. In Hebrew, every word in Hebrew is composed of letters, of course, just like any language. But something very special about the Hebrew language, we call it in Hebrew Lashon Kodesh, like a holy language. It's a very special thing that every word doesn't have just one meaning. You can take a word which is comprised of many letters. Most of the time, only 3, sometimes 2 letters are really the source of the word, the root of the word. And the rest of the letters just make up like the rest of the word. But the main part of the word is just 3 or 2 letters. Okay, so prayer also is one of these words that doesn't have just one meaning, has lots of meanings. So we're going to share two ideas that are going to explain this that I just said. How do we connect to him? How do we talk to him? Etc. etc. So the word in Hebrew for prayer is tefillah. That's the word, tefillah. And our sages, this is not something that I made up, our sages discuss and argue, what does this word mean? What do we do with this word? Where do you get it from? What's the source, the root of this word? So one idea is, it comes from the word pelilia. Pelilia in Hebrew means to judge. Pelilim means judges, like the courts and judges. So prayer actually, tefillah, is to judge. What are we judging? We're judging ourselves. Am I worthy of talking to God? Is he going to listen to me? Am I clean to talk to God? And I don't mean clean like physically. I mean in a spiritual way. We're going to talk about physical things later, God willing. But am I actually ready to talk to him? Whatever I'm going to say to him, is it my real truth or not? Am I worthy of whatever I'm asking? I need children, I need money, I need health, whatever I need. Do I really deserve it? So these are all kinds of questions that a person judges himself, the person itself, before actually producing the words of the prayer, asking or thanking, whatever the prayer is, as we're going to learn. So that's the first meaning of the word. Plilia. Judge yourself. Look at yourself. Think about yourself. What do you really need? Like, it's just an example, of course. If I ask God for $10 million, $1,000 million, okay, it's very nice, very interesting. Do I really need this? Like, I wouldn't know what to do with such amount of money. I don't know. I'm a simple guy. What do you want from me with this money? I don't know. So probably I don't need this money. Again, it's very nice to have it, but I don't need it. I don't really need it. So you have to judge yourself and understand, who are you? What do you need? What do you have to thank God for, etc. before praying? That's first meaning. Second meaning comes from the word teufel. Teufel means to bind, to put two things together. Our sages teach, it doesn't matter really the whole amount of details behind this idea. It doesn't really matter because it's a very specific law in Judaism. Doesn't matter. Most of the people don't know this law anyway, so don't worry. When a thing breaks, it breaks into pieces. So the verb, the word to bind and put together these pieces is teufel. So teufel has the same letters as tefillah. It even sounds pretty much the same. Teufel, tefillah. So tefillah means to bind yourself to God. That's another meaning. You want to connect to Him. You want to talk to Him. You want to thank Him. You want to ask Him, praise Him, whatever the meaning is, as we're going to learn. So this is prayer. This is what it means. It's a moment. It's a situation in your life that you have to prepare to, like we're going to learn, in which you actually bind to God. What does it mean to bind to God? Besides the idea of talking to Him, asking Him, whatever, what does that mean? In the world, we have, this is what Judaism teaches, and actually many philosophical ideas behind this that I'm teaching, that I'm going to say. In the world, we have four kinds of creations. You have like stones, inanimate things, stones. Then you have vegetables, things that actually grow. They don't move from the place, they grow. They have some kind of life, like a plant. Then you have animals. They not only grow, but they also move from here to there, whatever. And then you have human beings. Us. Good. Four kinds of things. How does each one of these things actually grow? Because the whole idea of Judaism, at least one of the big ideas, is grow. Like yourself. Improve. In many ways. Many, many ways. Improve yourself. How? Reaching to God. This is what I'm explaining, actually. A stone, a mineral, how does it grow? When the plant absorbs the mineral from the ground, then the mineral became a plant. Wow, now you grew, and not just a better mineral, a better stone. You became a plant. It's like infinitely bigger, higher than just a mineral. And now you're a plant. You can grow. Good. When an animal eats the plant, good. Now the plant became an animal. Wow. It's infinitely better to be an animal than to be a plant. Now when the human being eats the animal, now the animal became a human being. I can, after eating something, I can talk and I can feel myself well. If I'm hungry, I cannot function properly. So I just ate a piece of meat, a piece of whatever. I'm not saying that everybody has to eat meat. I'm not talking about that issue. Whatever, you can eat whatever you want, except for a part of a live animal. You can eat whatever you want. Don't worry. But the idea is that the animal became a human being. Good, great. What about the human being? How do you transcend yourself? What do you want to become, a stone? No. So you bind to God. You connect to God. You connect to something that is way beyond us, not just quantitatively. Like in quality, it's infinitely beyond us. That's the way we grow. Then how do you connect to Him? Okay, one of the methods is prayer. That's why it's called Teufel. That's why it's called uniting things. Teufel. This is what actually prayer means. So, if we were going to ask, just like a general question, what's the importance of prayer? So I would say, look, it's the tool God gave to us, because at least in parentheses, people actually don't realize this. It's an amazing goodness from God that we can actually think about Him, talk about Him, and talk to Him. It's an amazing goodness, because it's like if I have an ant walking whatever in my desk, there's an ant over here, walking in my desk. Am I going to talk to the ant? I have nothing to say to the ant, and the ant is not going to understand me. It doesn't care. Don't move that way. Don't move. And the ant keeps on walking, whatever. It's looking for food, or it's looking to go back to its place. It's not going to listen to me. It doesn't care about me. We live in different worlds. I mean, spiritually speaking, different worlds completely. So we are even less than an ant is to a human being. We're even less to God. He's infinite. We're finite. In the world of the human being and the ant, we're both finite. Okay, I'm a human being and you're an ant. What do you want? This is what you do. I'm much better than you. Okay. But for God, it's infinite. It's an infinite difference. So who says that He talks to us, or the other way, that we can talk to Him? Who told you He's listening to you? He doesn't care about you. Who are you? What are you? Less than an ant? So it's an amazing goodness from God that He taught us, hey, hello, you can talk to me. And you know what? When you talk to me, I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. Is He going to give us whatever we ask? I want $1 million. Okay, maybe He says, look, either you don't deserve it, you don't need it, or whatever. He knows what He does. We don't know. He knows. Okay. Doesn't this idea of listening, that He listens to us, it doesn't mean that He has to give us, He's forced to give us whatever we want. No. And this is just any person, any regular common human being that has children knows perfectly that children ask for all kinds of things. We want candies, we want money, we want this, that. And parents, father, mother, know perfectly. Sometimes I'm going to say yes, sometimes I'm going to say no. But I ask you and you always say no. Okay, look, maybe you ask weird things. That's why I say no. But if you ask me something I can give you, I'm going to say yes. Or something I judged like a regular, normal adult that I have to give you, I'm going to give it to you. No problem. But if you want 2,000 candies per hour, I'm going to say no. But a candy, it's just a candy. Yeah, but you know what? 2,000 candies in an hour? No. That's not good. It's not good for your teeth. It's not good for your stomach, etc., etc., etc. So, okay, He's not forced. This is just to explain. He's not forced to give us whatever we ask, but He's listening. Imagine, just for a second, again, going back to the example of a parent with children. Imagine if your children cannot talk to you, like there's no open channel. Hello, Father, can I talk to you? No. Can you listen to me? No. Mother, I just came from school and something happened. I don't care. What kind of relationship you have with your children? It's terrible. Terrible parent. I would think, I don't want to be your son. I don't want to be, no. Like, no. What, you just gave birth to me? That's all? I don't like this relationship. So our relationship to God, it's not that way. He is listening to us. Sometimes He answers yes, sometimes He answers no. Okay, just like a regular parent. Father, mother, whatever. But it's an amazing goodness from God that He says to us, this is the tool you have to bind with me, to connect with me, to talk to me. And I enjoy you talking to me. Even though just like children. Sometimes children talk about things that we adults say, okay, no, I don't really care about this, okay. My friend in school said to me, da, 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 da. Okay, children, but we were parents. Why did you have children for? What did you have children for? To listen to these things and enjoy these things. Enjoy. There's no bigger joy for a father, mother. It's the same thing, men, women, it's all the same. There's no bigger joy than a son, a daughter, whatever, it's all the same, calling to you and says, Tati, I want to talk to you. This happened to me and this happened to me. Oh, this is good. In Hebrew, it says, Baruch Hashem. Thank God. He's talking to me and he looks for me. And when he asks questions, he asks me first. That's the best. That's the best. You did a good job. If this is what happens with your children, you did a good job. And if not, okay, there are ways to fix things. Of course, there are ways to fix things that most of the times, is about fixing yourself, not your child. It's yourself. And this goes back, interestingly, to the first meaning of tefillah, which is pelilia, judge yourself. If something is not so good with your relationship with your children or with your spouse, whatever, pelilia, judge yourself before just asking and talking. And what's going on with me? What's going on inside of me? Okay, this is about the importance of prayer. It's the way we transcend ourselves and we connect to something higher than us. And He is waiting for that. God is waiting for this. And He enjoys this. This is our goal in life, basically, to connect to Him. This is one of the methods to connect to Him. If you ask, what are the others? Okay, the observance of the commandments that He gave to us, that's the other way of connecting to Him. But it's a different type of connections. Because you have a connection that a boss gives an order to an employer, and the employer fulfills the order. Okay, it's a connection, of course, but it's like a further connection. It's far away. It's not so close. It's not so close. It's more like from up down. Oh, it's more from up down. Okay, yeah. It's more like a connection of God gives an order and we fulfill. Okay, but it's not like from down up. We want to talk to Him. We want to see Him smile, whatever that means. Okay, that's prayer. That's the importance of prayer. Now, there are many ideas that our sages give us to have a good prayer. Like there's a way, there's a structure that prayer has. Before entering in the idea of structure, anybody has any questions, any ideas, any comments? Are we fine? Go. Okay. Go. Good. Baruch Hashem. Okay. The one small note before entering the structure. It's very common that people choose or see whatever, a book called Sidur. Sidur, it's a prayer book, Jewish prayer book. There are many types of Sidurim. That's the plural way of Sidur. Many types of communities from Ashkenaz, from Sfarad, okay, many types of Sidurim. 100% of them are not designed for non-Jews. Are the other way, are designed for Jews. If a person reads just the regular parts of any part of this book, talks all the time about the Jewish people, and God said this to the Jewish people, and said that to the Jewish people, and do this for the Jewish people, and do that for the Jewish people. So a non-Jew picks up the Siddur, picks up the book, and says, where am I in this book? When does it talk about me? The answer is, it doesn't talk about you. It's not designed for that. That means it's a bad book? No, it's a book designed for something else. It's like if I would go to university and want to learn medicine, and I pick up an engineering book and start reading the engineering book, and it talks about mathematics and this and that. I wanted to learn about medicine. I wanted to learn about the brain and the cells and the blah, blah, blah. I don't see the brain and the cells over here. So, right, you picked up the wrong book. You have to pick up the right book. Now, there are no, as far as I know, there are no Sidurim, at least from the ancient times, designed for non-Jews. And there's a very simple reason why there are no books designed. Now, in the few, let's say 10 years, in the last 10 years, there were some Sidurim designed for non-Jews. Okay, we're going to talk about this. It's okay. Those books are okay, are fine. But the ancient ones, there are no Sidurim for non-Jews. And the reason, again, very simple. Jewish people, as probably most of you know, Jewish people were persecuted for so long, and we had a very difficult life as a people, as a group, very difficult life. And it was not possible to produce and to publicly talk about laws that Judaism has, or a message that Judaism has for non-Jews. It was impossible. It was like death, sure death, sure penalty, death penalty, for sure. For many reasons, but whatever. We're not judging now if it's okay or not okay, but that's the reality of the story. So Jews kept the ideas for themselves. Because you know what? It's better you close yourself, just talk about it in your circles, and sometime it's going to come a time that we can talk about this. Now is a good time for talking about this. It's okay, good. But in the ancient times, no. So when the sages, when big rabbis wrote Sidurim, they were not thinking about non-Jews. Forget it. No way. They're going to kill us. So don't talk about them. Now, that's the reason why most of the books of the Sidurim going around in any Judaica are not for non-Jews. They're not for non-Jews. So there are very few. I would not. The proper word is not Sidur. That's not the proper word. But just let's use this word like a prayer book. Let's use this idea to make it simple. Otherwise, I would have to explain all the time the same thing. So forget it. There are a few prayer books for non-Jews. There are a few, and most of them go around basically the same thing what we just spoke. Like connect to God. That's the idea. And there are a few ideas that I would like to share. I wrote down myself a few ideas that are important to understand beyond the words that we're going to talk about this also later. The words that a person can say. A few ideas. First idea, the reality of creation, whatever. The truth is that most, not all of them, but most of non-Jews come from a Christian world. Most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. And one of the ideas that they put into the head of people is you cannot talk to God. You cannot talk to Him. You have to talk to somebody else so that somebody else talks to God. And then God talks to this guy, and this guy talks to you. Whatever. He who understands, good. The one that doesn't understand, better. Because you don't know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because you don't have these ideas in your head. You're fine. You're good. But whatever. If you know what I'm talking about, Judaism says, no way. Every creature, dogs and cats don't pray, but every human being in the whole world, no matter men, women, no matter the color of the skin, no matter how much hair you have in your head, it doesn't matter anything, nothing. Every human being can talk to God directly to Him. And again, He listens and He enjoys whatever you want to talk to Him. And again, He will judge what to answer. That's His problem, not mine. He's listening. He is listening. We don't need any intermediaries at all. None of them. And interestingly, just to finish with this point, the one that wants to be intermediary, he himself says, you cannot go to him except through me. Okay, who do you think you are? And you decide that. If God comes and says, oh, you need this guy, okay, whatever, God said this, we will accept it, okay, because this is what God says. But you say you want to be intermediary? Who are you? Why? I can also say the same thing. Everybody pray to me and I will. And who's going to listen to me? Nobody. You're nuts. Okay, so the same thing. Where did it come from? Because he said so. Okay, many people throughout stories said the same thing. Throughout history, of humankind, said the same thing. So who cares? Who cares? You can talk directly to God. That's point number one. Point number two, it makes absolutely nonsense to pray to anything else but God. No angels, no stars, no sun, no moon, no nothing. Just God. Just Him. And who's God? Okay, so we have to think, develop exactly what's God. That's a big topic. But basically, very basically, He's all-powerful. He's in every place. He is the creator of the world. And again, I know that I'm repeating this, but it's important that this is what prayer means, actually. He is waiting for our prayers. He is waiting for us. He's waiting for us. It's just like the father that hides himself with the baby. Where is Tati? Where is Tati? And the father is actually waiting for the baby to say, where is Tati? Oh, here's Tati, and everybody's happy. The father is waiting. Imagine a father that is playing hides. I don't know how to say it in English, but whatever. Hiding. And the father hides, and the son starts looking here, looking there. He got tired, whatever. My father, I don't know where he is. He just left. And the father keeps on hiding and waiting and years and decades and centuries. I'm just waiting for somebody to look for me. This is the idea of what prayer is from our side to God. He's waiting for it. He hid himself. I don't know why, whatever. It doesn't matter really why now, but he's waiting for us to look for him. And that's prayer. That's what it means. Transcend yourself, look for your Father in heaven, etc., etc. But again, just to him, not to anything else. There's nothing else in the world, nothing, not in this physical world, not in the most, spiritual worlds that has any power over anything. But God is the only one. He's the only one. I see many people ask about angels and ask about what Kabbalah has to say about angels and pray. Whatever. Doesn't mean anything. An angel is just like a tube. That God puts on one end of the tube something, the other end of the tube brings out something else, and that's it. The tube itself doesn't decide anything. It's just a tube, stuck like a black box. You put here something else comes out of here, and that's it. The box itself doesn't decide what to do. That's an angel. So what are you going to do? To pray to a box? To a black box? To a tube? Doesn't make any sense. The tube is not going to give you anything else or anything less than what God decides you have to get. That's about prayer. Only and only to God. Nothing else. Now, when should we actually pray? There are many opinions throughout the Jewish writings, sages, when it's in Hebrew it's called mitzvah. Mitzvah means a commandment. What's the commandment itself to pray? When, how, etc. There are many arguments around this. Basically, it comes out to two ideas. Idea number one, every day, with no set time, every day. Every day you should pray. What should you pray? Okay, we're going to talk in a minute, but the idea is just to connect. So you can say anything. Hey God, I'm here. Thank you. That's it. That's prayer. And nobody can say, you're not praying because you didn't read 200 pages in this book. You're not praying. Really? I'm praying. I can assure you, you're praying. And you're connecting to God. Okay. So when, again, two ideas, every day. And for sure, any time you need. even 200 times a day. It doesn't matter. You need something, you pray. Anything. I don't know where my underwear is. God, help me look for my underwear. Okay? Oh, I found it. Thank you, God. I found it. That means prayer. That's prayer. And that's the mitzvah. That's a commandment that God says. Whenever you need something, hey, look for me. Not to me, of course. Look for God. Pray to me. And again, he's going to decide whether he helps you or how he helps you. That's not my thing. That's his thing. But in any case, those are the two main ideas of when. At least once every day, with no set times. Jews pray 3 times a day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night, and there are many rules of those times. What means morning, what means in the afternoon, what means night. Okay, so many details that do not apply to Bnei Noach. It does not mean that you cannot pray 3,000 times a day. Yeah, you can do that. No problem. And again, any moment that you actually remember him and you ask him something, or you thank him for something, or you just praise him, God, you're so great. That means prayer. And you can do this any amount of times you want throughout the day, the night, and whatever time you want, whatever, in any situation, in any place you want. Now, let's go to the place itself and to the getting ready in your own body about prayer. The place where you pray, it should be a clean place. What does it mean, a clean place? Like, first of all, this is the best way. It's not the only way. It's the best. You should set up a place in your house when you feel comfortable, when you say, this is a nice place, and I will always pray over here. This is my praying place. It does not mean that you have to light candles and you have to put out the light and make it. No. Nothing of that. If you actually feel that you connect more, I don't know, it's weird. The truth is that it's weird. Is it prohibited? No, I cannot say that, but it's weird. Like, imagine you invite a friend to your house and your friend says, like, there's a corner in your house and you have like a dim light and some candles over here. Excuse me, what do you do over here? I pray to God over here. Okay. I don't know. It sounds weird. Okay? It sounds weird. There's no need for that. But it's better to have a place where the place is like neat, nice. Now, a few like this, even though it sounds weird, but bear with me. You'll understand it. Don't worry. In the Jewish law, when it talks about a clean place, besides the idea of having a fixed place, when it talks about a clean place, it means, like, for instance, people have dogs in their houses. People have cats. Actually, cats work like different because cats have a place. You put some stones over there, and then they do all the things in the stones. Those are the nature of cats. That's the way it is. But sometimes it could happen that the cat makes his needs, whatever, in any place in the house. So if you have these things around when you're praying, what you're doing is wrong. No, there's not a clean place. Or the dog, whatever, is not feeling well and he left the whole thing over there and you're praying over there. No, that's not the right place to pray. No, clean the place and then you pray. There should be no bad smells, no dirt. Dirt doesn't mean cats and dogs and this kind of dirt. That's what I mean. Hope it's understandable. Why? Because, again, you're transcending yourself, you're connecting to God, you're becoming a better person, you're judging yourself, and there's a bad smell, really bad smell. You cannot concentrate. You're thinking more about the bad smell than God, actually. So it has to be a clean place. Now, the same thing applies to the body. You have to have a clean body. What does that mean? Before prayer, go to the bathroom, toilet, whatever you call it, and check yourself. Whether you actually need to do your needs, do whatever you have to do, and then you can go pray. It doesn't mean that you have to take a bath before praying. It doesn't mean that it has to be at 7 in the morning or no. Just be clean, whatever. Anybody can, any normal and regular adult knows, oh, I need to use the bathroom. Okay, I'll go to the bathroom and then we continue talking. It's normal, it's okay, no problem. But do that before prayer. Not that you start praying and you're like, I just 1 minute more and I want to finish these words and no. That's not the way a person would actually present himself before a king or a queen, whatever. It's the same thing. You would actually prepare yourself. You would have like nice clothes. It doesn't have like to be like a party clothes that you go to the wedding of your daughter. And no. It doesn't mean that. Regular clothes, whatever, but clean. Because you're presenting yourself like a servant before your king. So you present yourself properly, clean in your body, etc. One more detail about these ideas: the clothes, they have to cover the most intimate parts of your body. Sometimes happens like a person leaves Ecuador, for instance, like there's very hot days, 40 degrees Celsius, and in the shadow, wherever, and you go around free of clothes. It's okay, you can do whatever you want, or you go to the beach in California, whatever, and it's summer and it's very hot. Okay, but don't pray like that. Do whatever you want in the beach, it's okay, but don't pray like that. You would not go to a meeting with a king in those clothes. You wouldn't do that. So, the regular, most basic idea of how your clothes should look like is you're presenting yourself before a very important person, like a job interview. Would you go with your bikini to the job interview? No, probably not. It's not the proper way to do it. No, you go dressed, whatever, like a regular person. Okay, that's about clothes. All of this goes around concentration. Concentrate yourself. Again, you're presenting yourself in front of the King of all kings, the Holy One, etc., etc. That's about prayer. Now, what to say? What's the main component of the prayer? The prayer book for Jews has many ideas and a big structure and different parts of structure, but basically the structure is divided in the following way. First of all, we talk about the greatness of God, like as if you were actually talking to a king, because actually we are talking to a king. So first of all, we talk about your majesty, that you're so big and you're so good, and yeah, etc., etc. And then you ask whatever you want to ask, and then you thank you for this and for life and for etc., etc. I fully understand that it's not so easy all the times to have the proper words to say and to express actually your thankfulness, etc., etc. One idea that I just remembered, I forgot about it before. God understands all the languages, of course. So you don't need, and I mean need, to learn Hebrew to pray. Forget it. You know English and you actually feel comfortable in English, so pray in English. You know Spanish, so pray in Spanish. You like Hebrew, okay, you want to learn some words in Hebrew and you feel comfortable with those words because you understand what the words mean, okay, say them in Hebrew, very nice. But it's not obligatory, it's not mandatory to say it in Hebrew. No way. I mean, you don't need, this is the summary of what I'm saying now. You don't need to learn Hebrew to be a good person. No. You can be a great person and don't know Hebrew. Whatever, know Hebrew and don't be such a good guy. Whatever, it doesn't mean anything. The language doesn't mean anything. God understands all the languages. Even if you mix them up, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So you can say some parts in Hebrew and some parts in your language, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all. At all. Okay. So what words to use? Again, we go back to what I said before. There are no books, at least ancient books, for non-Jews. There are no books like that. In the last 10 years, some books came up. The one that I would recommend, highly recommend, it's a book by the Ani Institute in Eretz Israel by Dr. Schulman. He has a prayer book. That's a good one for non-Jews. Has selections of psalms, has some parts of some prayers that are actually also in the Jewish prayer book, has some prayers like, I don't know if it's the proper expression, but don't misunderstand, like are made up, like are created for non-Jews that are good, that are okay. I also actually made an app. It's called Bnei Noach, with the J at the end, because it's for Spanish speaking, but it's also in English. There's a prayer book also over there. It's pretty much like what the Ani Institute was just spoke about. It's pretty much like that. Has a few changes here and there, a few additions, a few subtractions, whatever here and there. Those are the ideas and words that I would recommend. But, just like I said before, there's no set structure for non-Jews in prayer. So, having said that, the main, and I mean really, really underlined and very big words, the main text for prayer is Tehillim, Psalms. That's the top. Actually, King David HaMelech, is called in Hebrew Ne'im Zemiris Israel. He's like the beautiful singer of Israel. What does that mean? He went. Now it's not the time for a history class, but he went through so many difficulties, so many persecutions, even by his own children persecuted him and wanted to kill him. And he expresses himself to God, asking for help, asking for all kinds of things, save me from my enemies. And it's amazing. So if you don't have these books that I said before, if you don't like them, whatever, it's okay. Take the Psalms. For sure you're going to be fine. There's no way anything you say from a Psalm is going to be wrong. No way. So you have 100% correctness, so to speak. If you select the few or whatever, if you want to say the whole psalm, so you can say it also, or whatever, you select the ones that most reach you, touch you. This guy likes this one, this girl likes that one. Okay, they're all okay. You choose whatever you want and you pray. 145 is a famous one. It appears in the Siddur also, in the Jewish prayer book. 130, 23, I don't know, some numbers that now came to my mind, but whatever, all the psalms are okay. There is one small note I would like to make, but this is my own idea. That you can take it or leave it, whatever. There are lists. If you search the internet, you're going to find lists for what thing you should say, which psalm. This psalm is good for headaches. This psalm is good if your kidneys are wrong. This psalm is good if your stomach is wrong. This psalm is good if you need money. This psalm is good if you need... Okay. There are such lists. In my humble opinion, forget it. Don't use it. Just choose the psalm you feel more like... more in touch with. More like, this is he was talking about me when he wrote this. Okay, probably yes. Probably yes. Of course, David HaMelech, King David, didn't know you and didn't know me. Of course. But if you feel that this text talks about you, that's your text. Actually, in the Jewish prayer, this part is not really like necessarily related to Bnei Noach, but the idea, it's powerful. The idea is powerful. In prayer, we say every day, it's called a Mishnah. Doesn't matter now what Mishnah is, it's called a Mishnah. And we ask, Mishnah is like a teaching, a very ancient teaching, year 200 in Common Era, around. And this teaching says, in Hebrew, we ask God, give us our portion in your Torah. I want to know which one is my portion, which actually has so many meanings. So we're not going to get into the whole deepness of these words, but the idea what I want to convey is there are parts of Torah that we resonate with. We read them, and sometimes it happened to me many times, mostly in the last years. When you get older, you start feeling different things. That there's a public reading of the Torah in the synagogue, and many times in different places of the Torah, I started crying, but because it just, we become overwhelmed with some emotion, and you start crying. And the people knew already in my synagogue, okay, if the rabbi starts crying, just wait a little bit until he comes down, and he's going to continue. Don't worry. It's okay. It's not a problem. Nobody passed away, nothing wrong. It just got, with emotions, whatever. So there are some parts, particularly Tehillim, Psalms. If you don't know which one, I invite you to read them all. Take your time, no problem. Read them all and understand them. And for sure, at some point, you're going to say, "Oi, this is talking about me. This is my life right now. Maybe next year is not going to be your life. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you need a new psalm now. It's okay. But right now, he's talking about me. Okay, so take that psalm and use it. Use it, say it, repeat it. You can actually learn it by heart, whatever. That's what prayer means, actually, because that connects you, going back to the beginning, to God. Okay, I spoke a lot about prayer. I didn't say anything about blessings. First, a small note about blessings, what they mean. There's only one blessing, actually two blessings, but in the Torah itself, the Torah commands at least only one blessing. There are a few, actually, now that I think, but as a commandment, there is only one. That is the blessing after eating a meal, actually bread, after eating bread. It's the only one that appears in the Torah. And from there, our sages learn to all the other blessings in many different ways. But the main idea of a blessing, this is the Hasidic idea. You're not going to find it in any book. In all the books, regular books about blessings, you're not going to find this idea. But the main idea of a blessing, at least from a Hasidic perspective, is reveal God in your life, in your world. Because suppose you have a piece of food, whatever, you have food in front of you, and you want to eat, and it's okay to eat that food, no problem. In the moment that you actually, before eating the food, you thank God for that food, and you pronounce the proper blessing, the text of the blessing itself, as I'm going to explain in a minute, the text of the blessing itself, what it's saying is, God, you are the one that actually created this food, and I thank you that you're giving me permission to eat your food, actually, because the whole world belongs to you, and I'm taking actually benefit from your world, so thank you. I recognize this. At the moment that you actually recognize this, you reveal God in many ways. The main way is in your life, because you yourself become more conscious of God's presence all over the place. All over the place. Even in this piece of food that I'm going to eat now, God is there. And if anyone, any situation is actually looking at you and is looking, this guy is going to eat, and before eating pronounces something. So maybe didn't understand exactly what you said. But you moved your mouth and you said something and then you ate. And, hey, what are you saying? Are you talking to the food? Are you like nuts? Are you talking to food? No. I'm talking to God to thank Him for this food. So that means, in very simple terms, you are revealing God in the world. That's what it means. In yourself and in the world. Okay. There are many types of blessings, many different kinds of blessings. Basically, they divide into three types of blessings. The first one is called blessings for commandments, mitzvot. That this doesn't apply to Bnei Noach, because there are no commandments that Ben Noach, Bat Noach, men, women is the same, has to do actually. So there are no blessings for commandments in the case of Bnei Noach. But the other two types apply and fully apply. The first one is called Birchos Hanoe, means when you want to take benefit from the world, like eating something. There are whole kinds of blessings about food, about eating different kinds of food, have different kinds of blessings. And then there are blessings that are called Birchos Hoidah. Hoidah means thankfulness. That, for instance, we see a thunder, so you have to make a blessing. Why? Because God is creating. This is part of the structure through which God created the world. So there are many kinds of blessings that basically divide into these two types that apply to Bnei Noach. This from the three types, actually two types apply to Bnei Noach. One is thanking for the food, and the other one thanking for actually the world, like when a miracle happens or whatever. Okay, what about the food? What's the text of the blessing on the food? So we say in Hebrew, Baruch atah Hashem, blessed are you, because God is the source of all blessings. So He is blessed and He gives us from His blessing to us. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech ha'olam, our God, King of the world. And then you say whatever the food is. For instance, if it's a fruit, let's say an apple, and then you say, Boire Prio Eitz, that God creates the fruit of the trees, or that God creates the fruit of ground, or God creates the fruit of vine. I don't know exactly what the word is, grapes or whatever. When you drink wine, there are certain products that our sages say this is like more important, like wine and bread, have their own separate blessing. I think it makes no sense that I repeat all the blessings now, because anyway, you're not going to remember them, so you have to have them written down, of course. And in these prayer books that I spoke before, they have all the blessings. They have them pretty much separated and explained each one, when to apply each one. Except for those two foods, wine and bread, usually blessings are for fruits of trees, fruits of ground, or anything else. Anything else is like cheese. Cheese doesn't grow from a tree, and not from the ground. So there's a specific blessing for cheese, or for water, or for Coke, whatever. Different kinds of things that don't grow from trees and ground. Those are the blessings basically for food. And this is the blessing before eating. And then there's a blessing after eating. But the main this is actually what the Talmud says, is interesting. There are two verses that actually contradict themselves. There are few answers about this contradiction. I'm going to explain in a minute. There are a few answers to this, but the main one that has to do with what we're learning now, the main answer is like this. The two verses are like this, and then the question is like this, and the answer is like this. Okay, what are the two verses? One says, Lashem ha'aretz umloya. To God belongs the earth and whatever fills the earth. And the other verse says, Heavens are for God, and the earth He gave to human beings. So wait a second. Either the earth belongs to God, or the earth belongs to human beings. Make up your mind. So the answer is, one verse is talking before saying a blessing, to have benefit, and the other one is talking about after the blessing. So actually the whole world belongs to God, everything. But if you say a blessing, so God says, I give you permission to take benefit from my world. It's okay. Why? Because the whole reason why God created the whole world is because He wants to be revealed. There are a few answers, but whatever. He wants to be revealed in this world. And one of the tools we have to reveal, as I just explained, to reveal His presence in this world is through a blessing. So if you're going to say if you're not going to say a blessing, hey, the world is mine, says God. The world is mine. Who are you? Did you create this? No. Did you partake in the creation of this? No. So you cannot take it. It's not yours. You're stealing. Now, if you are going to fulfill the reason why, says God, of course, not me too, if you're going to fulfill the reason why I created the world, then I'm going to give you permission to actually use my world for the proper benefit, for the proper purpose, of revealing myself, revealing me, says God. So that's why through the blessing we actually ask God for permission to take benefit from his world, and he says yes. Why does he say yes? Because that's the reason why he created it, for us to reveal him. Yeah. I don't know if there are questions, comments.
So thank you. It was very good class. So I have two questions on the
Yes.
chat. So the first question came in from Jose. So can Bnei Noach pray towards the east?
Oh, good. And now I see the chat. Didn't see it before. Okay, good. Okay, the answer to the question is yes, of course. Yes. I did not mention it before, mainly because I forgot. But no, the real reason is it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. You can pray to any direction. But having said this, it's proper, it's okay, and it's good to pray towards the east. Why? The point here is not the east. Point here is Yerushalayim, holy city. And even if you are in Yerushalayim, which could happen, Jerusalem, if you're there, you have to pray towards the temple, the Temple Mount. And if you are in the Temple Mount, you have to pray towards where the Holy of Holies was. To be honest, nobody really knows exactly where it was. Some say it was in this thing that has a golden thing on the top. Some say it was on the other one that is like more to the right with the top of what is called silver. And some say it was in the middle. Okay, so we don't know exactly. That's the truth. We don't know exactly. There are many opinions, but it is absolutely proper to pray towards wherever in the world you are. It's going to be towards Jerusalem, of course. Like if you're very, very far in the north, you're going to have to pray to the south. And if you're very, very far in the south, for instance, Australia or something like that, so you have to pray actually towards the north, more towards the north. We, for instance, in Argentina, we have to pray to northeast. It's not really east, it's northeast. So depends on where you are in the world, towards Yerushalayim. Sure, definitely. And now I see another question. Alfredo Bram, is appropriate for a non-Jewish to say shalom when he wants to say hello? Yes, of course, but there's like a catch. The catch is like this. There's a saying in the Talmud. It's a very interesting saying in itself that has to be actually explained because it can be really misunderstood. But the saying is, "Az lekarte, az benimutse," in Aramaic. The saying is like this: if you go to a place, whatever the place is, behave like people behave in that place. This does not mean, absolutely not, even though I think it's like self-understood, but just in case, this does not mean that if I go to a place that everybody is naked, I have to be naked. No. What are you doing going to a naked beach? This is not for Jews, of course, and it's not also for Bnei Noach. No. We don't do these things, okay? Keep your body to yourself, to whatever, to your spouse. These things are not for us, okay? The Talmud says I have to behave like people behave in this place. Okay, don't go to that place, to this place. There's nothing for you to do in that place. Okay, now, having said that, if you go around saying shalom, shalom, and nobody understands what you're saying, and people look at you like you're nuts, what do you gain actually by saying shalom, shalom? Now, if people understand what you're saying, it's okay. Yeah, you can say shalom. Why not? It's a nice way of saying hello or saying goodbye. For the case is the same in Hebrew, but always you have to use common sense. It's interesting. The previous Rebbe, like I belong to a movement called Chabad. Chabad Lubavitch. So we have many rabbis, whatever. Not, the whole story is not for now. But the previous Rebbe, he used to say like this: the Shulchan Aruch, the code of law in Jewish code of law, has four parts. Four parts that talk about all kinds of things of Jewish life, all kinds of things. Not for now the whole explanation, but there's a fifth part that is not written. The fifth part that is not written is called common sense. The four parts are very interesting, very nice. You can learn all the laws, but if you don't have common sense when to apply a law, how to apply the law, you're lost. The four parts are not good for you, for anybody. You have to have common sense. So it's okay to say shalom, yes, of course, but if people are going to look at you like, which planet do you come from? Don't say shalom. Say hello, hola, or whatever the language you speak, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Moreover, one more like layer of deepness. In Judaism, and particularly in Hasidism, we talk about spreading, like teaching the world of Judaism, of God, whatever. And from the Jews to Bnei Noach also, and from Bnei Noach to Bnei Noach also. So imagine yourself, if you go to a place and you identify yourself as a Ben Noach, Bat Noach, man, woman, it's the same thing. And then you like behave weird, like shalom, and you just like look like a weird person. People are going to say, this story of Bnei Noach, I don't like it. You start becoming a Bnei Noach, and then you start saying weird words from a weird language. Nobody understands what you're saying, and you move weird, and you look weird, and you suddenly praying all the time, and so. I don't know what this is. I don't like this. Not for me. So you have to be careful when to say something, how to say something. Like this is a group that, right now. It's a group of people that are interested in the message of Judaism to the whole world, and they know what shalom means. So I can say shalom, and people are I'm not gonna say, what is this guy saying? People are gonna understand. Yeah, this is a proper way to say hello, but always pay attention to common sense, to context. But the answer would be like, yes, you can say shalom. Yeah.
Something, Rabbi, if I may. So I was 2 weeks ago was in shul in Jerusalem with Rabbi Tani, Rabbi and friend Tani Burton. Yes, and he took me there. This was a great experience because we cannot go to shul here in Holland. But I always, ever since I was a child, when I want to concentrate or I need to think or speak, I move a lot, right? So I used to think I had ADHD, but now I was there in shul and everybody
knows,
right? Rocking back.
You're not the only one.
And I was like, should I go along because I wanted to, But ever since Rabbi said, yeah, it's okay, you can do that. So now I do. I'm so happy with all the additional 3 psalms these days, right? Until so I do this rocking, and I really feel that it helps to disconnect from all the senses, right? So it really helps focus. I feel it does. So it's gotten worse. It's gotten way worse. So I just wanted to share that.
Very nice. Very nice. I have 2 things to say about this. 2 things. First thing, there are many people, a lot of people, that need to calm down certain senses, and different people have different senses. Sometimes it's touch, sometimes it's smell, sometimes it's hearing. To calm down those senses in order to be able to concentrate other senses. So some people take a sponge ball, and all the time, like in the hand, sponge ball. And some teachers, I teach children also. So some teachers go crazy. Like the boy is not paying attention to me. He's with his ball. No, you got it wrong. The boy needs the ball to pay attention to you, because otherwise he cannot live with his touch. And some people need to listen to music to learn. And some people say, no, shut up the music, I cannot concentrate. Okay. Certain people, and it could perfectly be, of course, you have to talk to a doctor or whatever, but it could perfectly be that you need to calm your body to be able to concentrate. So you move. So the body says, okay, things are coming and things are going, it's fine, now I can concentrate. Now I can think. Otherwise, my body says, I'm not comfortable now. Everything is too quiet. Everything is too still. I need to move. That's one point. Second point, there's a Hasidic explanation of this movement idea. And the idea is, it's a verse in Mishlei, Proverbs, I think it's called, Neravaye Nishmas Adam. The candle of God is the soul of the person. So the soul inside of us is like a candle. And when you see the fire in the candle, it never stays still. Moves this way, that way, moves, etc. So when a person actually is connecting, is concentrating, is trying to transcend, like we just learned about prayer, blessings, etc., naturally it goes. Your candle, your inside candle says, "Oi, I like this. This is good." So you move. You move. That's why you're gonna see most of Jews, most of them, not all of them, most of them, like when they pray, they move. When they learn, they move. It's the same idea. I don't know if you saw or if you heard actually. You didn't see, you heard. When people learn, when Jews learn the Talmud or some certain parts of the Torah, there's like a song, there's like a melody through learning. And that melody helps understanding what you're learning, helps concentrating on what you're learning. If this rabbi says like this, so the other rabbi says like that. Hey, what are you singing? No, I'm not singing, I'm learning. But it helps to incorporate what you're actually learning. Yeah. All of this goes around these ideas that I'm saying. The candle inside of you. Yeah. They say about the third Rebbe of Chabad, he was called Menachem Mendel, Tzemach Tzedek. They said about him that when he was learning, he sang songs. Chabad Lubavitch has many songs, some very nice, deep songs, lots of songs. So he used to sing when he was learning. And one of his children, he had many children, one of his children that actually was the next Rebbe, he shared that from the song that his father was singing, he knew what was he learning. What kind of subjects he was learning from the song that he was singing. More deep, more happiness, whatever. It's interesting that it's related, the song with this learning. Yeah. Yeah. So keep on moving, don't worry. You're fine. You're fine.
So I had a question about
Yes.
Bracha van Shehakol. Do you say Shehakol niyeh bidvaro, or do you say Shehakol yiyeh bidvaro?
None of them.
Oh.
You gave me two
Okay.
options, I give you a third option. Ihye means will be, which actually does not go with the meaning of the prayer, because the prayer means, this blessing. This blessing means that everything was created, in the past, was created with his word. Like for cheese. Cheese doesn't grow from a tree, cheese doesn't grow from the ground, so you need a different, separate blessing. So, Iye, it's completely out of the question. No, because you're talking about in future. Now, you can argue Niyo or Niye. The difference is just one, like in Hebrew it's called Nekuda, one point, one verbal, I don't know how to say it, verbalization or whatever. One vocal thing. In Chabad, we say Niyo, like with an O, Niyo, which is actually called a komatz. What's the problem? there are many ways of a pronunciation of Hebrew. My custom is Ashkenazi custom, and I pronounce when you have a komatz, which is like a little thing like this, and then a little thing like this. When you have a komatz, we say o, komatz. Like some people say Baruch, we in Chabad say Boruch, not Baruch, Boruch, like with the O, Boruch. Some people say Burich. Okay, there is such a thing also, Burich. Okay, good. So this blessing is Niyo with a komatz. Now, if you do not use Ashkenazic pronunciation, if you use regular, like Israeli, Sephardic pronunciation, is Niya. That's Niyo. It's Niya. But Niye, no. Niye is also in the future. It's like Iye. So either you say Niyo, Shehakoil Niyo Bidvaroi, or Niya, which means everything was created with his word. That's what it means.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure to be here. It was a pleasure. The questions, the answers, the comments. Thank you very much. And hopefully we will see each other soon.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you with us.
Nice.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call to.
Okay.
Be well. Best
Bye-bye.
regards.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Record.